What if a strip of water, just 21 miles wide, could shake the global economy overnight? What if the price of gasoline in Los Angeles, airline tickets in London, or food prices in Asia depended on ships passing through a narrow corridor between two tense coastlines? Why does nearly 1/5 of the world's oil move through a single gateway? And how can one country, simply because of geography, turn that gateway into leverage? The answer lies in a place most people never think about until markets start moving. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage between Iran to the north and Oman and the UAE to the south. On a world map, it barely stands out. But zoom in, and you begin to understand why it matters so much. The strait connects the Persian Gulf, where some of the world's largest oil producers operate, to the Gulf of Oman, and then to the open ocean. Every tanker leaving the eastern oil fields of Saudi Arabia, every shipment from Kuwait, Iraq, Qatar's massive LNG terminals, the UAE, and even Iran itself must pass through this gate. There is no alternative sea route, and that's what makes it powerful. Nearly 20% of the world's oil consumption flows through this corridor every single day. About a quarter of global seaborne oil trade. A major portion of the world's liquefied natural gas, especially from Qatar, also travels through it. So when tension rises here, the world pays attention. But why does tension even matter if the strait isn't officially closed? Because in maritime trade, perception can be as powerful as blockade. Ships move based on insurance. Insurance moves based on risk. And risk moves based on political and military signals. If war risk insurance premiums spike, shipping companies hesitate. If captains sense instability, they delay voyages. If naval forces increase patrols, markets interpret it as escalation. Oil prices don't wait for confirmation. They react to uncertainty. That's why even the suggestion of disruption in Hormuz can push global energy prices higher. And this is where geography turns into strategy. Iran sits directly on the northern coastline of the strait. From this position, it does not need to dominate the sea in traditional naval terms. It doesn't need aircraft carriers or massive fleets to create impact. It only needs proximity. Iran's naval doctrine focuses on asymmetry: fast attack boats, coastal missile systems, naval mines, drone surveillance, and rapid deployment tactics. The objective isn't full-scale war. It's pressure. Pressure that raises the cost of stability. If shipping risk increases, oil prices rise. When oil prices rise, global attention shifts immediately. Diplomatic calls are made. Negotiations accelerate. The strait becomes leverage without requiring total closure. But why wouldn't Iran simply shut it down completely if it holds so much power? Because leverage works best when it is controlled. A total closure would not just hurt global markets, it would hurt Iran as well. Iran exports oil through the same strait. A full blockade would likely trigger overwhelming international naval response and severe economic retaliation. So historically, tension around Hormuz operates within a narrow margin. Enough instability to signal capability, not enough to trigger direct, large-scale conflict. But narrow margins are dangerous in narrow waters. What about the Gulf states on the other side? Are they helpless? Not entirely, but they are constrained. Saudi Arabia has pipelines that can move some oil to the Red Sea, bypassing the strait. The UAE operates a pipeline to Fujairah outside Hormuz. These routes offer partial alternatives, but they cannot replace the total volume moving through the strait. If Hormuz were severely disrupted, global supply would tighten sharply, and energy markets, which already operate on delicate balance between supply and demand, would feel it immediately. That's why Gulf states prioritize naval cooperation, international partnerships, and diplomatic stabilization. Their economies depend on uninterrupted flow, and flow is the key word. Modern geopolitics is less about territory and more about circulation. Energy circulation, trade circulation, financial circulation. Control over territory once defined power. Today, influence over flow defines it. The Strait of Hormuz represents that shift perfectly. Who feels the impact first if disruption escalates? Asia. Over 80% of the oil and liquefied natural gas passing through Hormuz heads toward Asian markets. China, India, Japan, South Korea. These economies depend heavily on imported energy. If shipping slows dramatically, LNG prices spike. Oil futures climb. Energy importing nations scramble for alternatives. Strategic reserves may be tapped. Inflation pressures increase. And from there, the ripple spreads. Fuel prices rise. Transportation costs increase. Airline tickets become more expensive. Manufacturing costs climb. Food supply chains absorb higher input costs. Energy is not just another commodity. It is the foundation beneath all others. That is why even short-term instability in Hormuz can send shockwaves far beyond the Middle East. So what happens next? There are three realistic paths. The first is controlled tension. Periodic disruptions, rising insurance costs, but no full shutdown. This scenario keeps markets nervous but avoids catastrophic escalation. The second is a severe but temporary shock, a short crisis that spikes oil dramatically before diplomatic intervention stabilizes the region. The third is prolonged disruption, sustained instability that forces structural shifts in global energy trade, accelerates diversification efforts, and reshapes geopolitical alliances. Most actors involved understand that total closure would damage everyone. That reality acts as a stabilizing force. But stability in Hormuz does not come from trust. It comes from balance. Balance between signaling and restraint. Balance between pressure and escalation. Balance between geography and consequence. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a maritime corridor. It is a pressure point where economics, military posture, diplomacy, and energy security converge. And as long as the world depends heavily on Gulf energy exports, that narrow strip of water will remain one of the most strategically sensitive places on Earth. So the real question is not simply whether it will close. The deeper question is how much uncertainty the global system can absorb before markets react beyond control. Because in the Strait of Hormuz, sometimes it isn't ships that move first. It's fear. And fear moves markets faster than any tanker ever could.